Okay, stop and think about this for a moment. Why is it that some people, and I mean entire cultures, seem to build for the long haul, investing patiently, creating these amazing legacies, while others just seem stuck? Stuck in like instant gratification, spending, debt, that whole cycle.
It's a huge difference, isn't it? It's like deciding whether to plant an orchard that feeds you for decades or just, burning the whole forest down for one night's warmth. We often think it's just willpower.
Right, like some people just have more self-control.
Exactly. But the author of the book we're digging into today, Saifedean Ammous, argues it's much, much deeper than that.
Welcome, everyone, to Success Happiness, the place where we explore the ideas that really shape a successful and, well, happy life. Today, we're doing a special book talk focusing on a really quite provocative text from the last few years, the Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah, it's definitely provocative. Ammous makes this pretty radical claim that the actual integrity of your money, the stuff you save, trade, use to figure out value, that this is like an invisible hand guiding your choices.
Guiding your focus, your productivity. Even, he argues, the path of civilization itself.
That's the core argument. It shapes everything.
So, our mission in this book talk is to really unpack this crucial idea of sound money. We think understanding this isn't just some abstract economic thing. It's fundamental, foundational, really, for anyone serious about self-improvement and achieving real, lasting success.
Absolutely. And to get sound money, we have to start with the first rule, the bedrock principle. Money has to be hard.
Okay, hard money. We're not talking about like metal coins versus paper, right?
No.
What does hardness mean in this context?
Right, not physical hardness. It's all about the stock-to-flow ratio.
Yeah.
Basically, you look at the existing supply already out there that's the stock and compare it to how much new stuff is being produced in a given period that's the flow.
So stock divided by flow, high ratio means hard money.
Exactly. Think gold. Massive stockpile built up over centuries, right? But the amount newly mined each year, relatively tiny, so very high stock-to-flow, very hard.
Okay, makes sense. But why is that ratio so critical for something to work as like a store of value? Why does it matter?
Well, think about it. Anything people start using to save, its demand goes up, price goes up. And that higher price, it screams to producers, make more of this.
Ah, okay. Incentive.
Right. Now, if that thing is easy to make more of, if it has a low stock-to-flow ratio, what happens? The producers just turn it out, flood the market,
And the value crashes. The people who are saving it.
get wiped out. Their wealth, saved through hard work, deferred gratification, it just evaporates. It gets effectively transferred to those who could produce the money easily.
Yeah.
That's the easy money trap.
The easy money trap. The market punishes the saver.
Precisely.
Yeah?
And the money fails its most crucial job,
Yeah.
holding value reliably over time.
There's a fantastic historical example of this in the book, isn't there? The race stones on Yap Island.
Oh yeah, the Raystones. Huge limestone discs. So enormous. They were money precisely because getting them was incredibly difficult.
Right, like dangerous voyages, quarrying by hand. Immense effort.
Exactly. That difficulty, that scarcity gave them value. But then this American captain, David O'Keefe, shows up in the late 1800s.
With like modern tech.
Yep, steamships, tools, maybe even dynamite, the book suggests. He saw a huge opportunity. He could quarry these massive stones relatively easily compared to the traditional Yapese methods.
So he starts churning them out.
He brings back a bunch of large, easily made stones
Yeah.
and tries to buy things. But the local chief, this guy was sharp. He basically said, nope,
He banned them. Why?
because, he said, O'Keefe stones weren't valuable. They were obtained too easily. The chief understood intuitively that money which is easy to produce is, quote, no money at all.
Wow. He nailed the core principle. Easy money doesn't make you richer. It just puts your existing wealth up for grabs in exchange for something cheap.
Exactly. And this concept of hardness, of reliable money, connects directly to probably the most powerful idea in the book for self-improvement.
Time preference. Time preference.
Yeah.
Okay, break that down.
It's simply the rate at which you value the present compared to the future. We all have a positive time preference, naturally. We need to survive today, so we value eating now slightly more than eating tomorrow.
Sure, makes sense. We're not immortal.
But here's the key insight. Sound, hard money encourages low time preference. Future orientation.
How so?
Because if you trust that your savings will hold their value or even increase in purchasing power over time, well, you're incentivized to delay gratification, to save, to invest, to build for the future, rather than just consuming everything today.
And the opposite is true with easy money, right? If your
Kinda.
savings are melting away due to inflation.
To spend as fast as you can. High
Yeah.
time preference. Live today because tomorrow your money's worth less. It forces short-term thinking.
The book uses a great analogy for this difference, right? Linda and Harry.
Yeah, the fishing analogy. It illustrates it perfectly.
Yeah.
Harry has a high time preference. He spends his whole day, 8 hours, catching fish by hand just to eat. He's stuck in survival mode.
Consuming all his effort just to stay afloat.
Right. But Linda, she has a lower time preference. She decides, okay, I'll catch fish for 6 hours, maybe eat a bit less today.
And use the other 2 hours to make a fishing rod. Investing.
Exactly. She invests time, delays some immediate consumption to build capital. A week later, what happens?
She's way more productive. Catches double the fish in the same 8 hours.
Exponentially better off. Now she can maybe fish for 4 hours and spend the other 4 building a boat or nets or improving her hut. Her initial investment, driven by low time preference, unlocks this virtuous cycle of capital accumulation and rising productivity.
And that's the engine of self-improvement, isn't it? Studying for years for a degree, saving for a down payment, building a business on weekends. It's all low time preference, delayed gratification for a bigger future payoff.
That's exactly it. It's the foundation of building anything substantial.
But hang on, the book goes further, suggesting sound money even makes people more moral. That seems like a stretch. Is it really saying stable savings makes you a better person?
It's a challenging idea, for sure. But the argument isn't that money makes you moral, but that it shapes your incentives. If you operate with a low time preference, thinking in decades, well, things like cheating, stealing, breaking contracts, they become incredibly counterproductive.
Because the long-term consequences outweigh any short-term gain. If you're building a legacy.
Burning bridges is self-sabotage. Sound money, by enabling long-term planning and preserving the rewards of past good behavior, aligns self-interest with more cooperative ethical strategies. It rewards foresight and integrity.
Okay, I see the logic there. And this long-term perspective, enabled by sound money, is what allows for, well, civilization's greatest achievements.
Think about it. Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel for 4 years. Bach dedicating his life to perfecting his music. Building cathedrals over generations. These require immense upfront investment, deferred gratification on a massive scale, and a belief that the future value will justify the present sacrifice.
Impossible with a high time preference mindset.
Utterly. High civilization is built on accumulated capital and very low time preference.
But history also gives us stark warnings about what happens when that monetary foundation erodes. The Roman Empire.
A classic example. Rome's decline wasn't just about barbarians. It was accelerated massively by turning to easy money. Emperors like Nero needed to fund wars, lavish spending.
So they started messing with the coins.
Coin clipping, debasement. They'd recall silver coins, melt them down, mix in cheaper metals, and mint more coins with less silver content, pocketing the difference.
A short-term fix for the budget.
Right, but it unleashed chaos. Inflation surged. People lost faith in the money. There were price controls, which never worked, leading to more shortages, more debasement. It was a vicious cycle.
And the economy.
It ground to a halt. The complex division of labor, the specialized bakers, weavers, traders across the vast empire, it couldn't function with unreliable money. People abandoned cities, retreated to subsistence farming. The whole sophisticated structure collapsed.
It shows money isn't just for buying stuff. It's like the economy's nervous system, the information layer.
That's a crucial point. Prices are signals. They convey information about scarcity and demand all across the globe. Coordinated production without any central planner needing to know everything.
Like knowing copper is scarce because the price went up.
Exactly. But when you mess with the money supply print more, make it unpredictable, make it unsound, you distort those price signals. The information becomes corrupted.
And people make bad decisions based on that bad information.
Precisely. This leads to what economists call malinvestments, economic calculation errors.
Malinvestments. So like entrepreneurs see artificially low interest rates because of money printing, and they think, great time to build 10,000 houses.
Exactly. Or start factories, invest in projects that seem profitable based on the distorted signals, but aren't actually supported by real savings or real demand in the economy.
And then the boom turns to bust.
Always. When the monetary distortion corrects, or reality catches up, those projects are revealed as unsustainable. Massive waste of capital, bankruptcies, unemployment. The painful bust is the inevitable hangover from the easy money party. It systematically destroys wealth.
And this really reached its peak with modern fiat currency, right? Money not backed by anything physical, just government decree.
The book argues that breaking the final link to gold was catastrophic. Look at World War I. Before 1914, wars were generally limited by a nation's gold reserves. You ran out of gold, you couldn't pay soldiers, you had to make peace.
But they went off the gold standard.
Suspended convertibility.
Hmm.
Suddenly, governments could fund the war simply by printing money. They could finance years of unprecedented slaughter by taxing their citizens silently through inflation.
Turning a potentially limited conflict into a total perpetual war machine.
That's the argument. And since then, the author contends, we've seen an acceleration of debt, consumption, political short-termism, because the mechanism to fund it all, the printing press, lacks that hard external constraint.
So, okay, gold was the hardest money for millennia. But even it had a flaw. Governments could grab it.
They centralized the reserves, which made it vulnerable. They could promise redemption in gold and eventually just stop. That centralization was its Achilles heel.
Which brings us to the potential solution presented in the book, Bitcoin.
Right. Bitcoin is introduced as something fundamentally new, the first verifiably scarce digital asset. It aims to be digital cash that works person to person without needing banks or payment processors in the middle.
Providing monetary sovereignty back to the individual.
That's the goal. Because it's digital, it's easily sent globally. But because it's secured by cryptography and a decentralized network, no single entity can easily seize it, censor transactions, or inflate the supply arbitrarily.
And that supply, that's the key part for the sound money argument, isn't it? The immutable guarantee.
Exactly. Unlike government money, or even potentially gold if asteroid mining becomes feasible, Bitcoin's total supply and issuance schedule are governed by code. Open source code agreed upon by the network participants.
So it's predictable, fixed.
Extremely predictable. The rules are known. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. The rate at which new ones are created halves roughly every 4 years. This programmed scarcity takes monetary policy completely out of the hands of politicians or central bankers.
That mathematical certainty gives confidence in its future hardness.
Immense confidence. The difficulty of changing those core rules is astronomical, requiring overwhelming consensus. That's why the book treats its supply schedule as effectively immutable.
And the numbers on that hardness, the stock to flow, where is Bitcoin heading?
Well, the projections are remarkable. Because the flow of the new supply keeps decreasing programmatically, its stock-to-flow ratio keeps rising. The book projected, and is largely on track, that Bitcoin's supply growth rate would drop below gold's somewhere around 2025.
Making it arguably the hardest form of money ever created based on that metric.
Based purely on measurable, predictable scarcity, yes. But it also aims for superior salability.
Salability, meaning how easily it can be used or traded.
Right. Salability across time, that's its hardness. Salability across space being digital, it's near instantaneous worldwide. And salability across scale, it's divisible down to tiny fractions. 100 million satoshis per Bitcoin, useful for any size transaction.
So bringing this all back to you, the listener focused on success, on self-improvement, what's the ultimate takeaway here?
The takeaway is that a technology like Bitcoin potentially offers the most powerful tool ever for achieving and maintaining a low time preference in our modern world.
Because it's a way to save, to accumulate wealth that aims to be resistant to inflation, debasement, confiscation.
Precisely. It allows for truly rational long-term planning. When you don't have to constantly worry about your savings melting away, your planning horizon naturally extends. You can think in decades, not just months or years.
The power of delayed gratification gets amplified enormously.
It really does. Your relationship with money profoundly impacts your time preference. And as we've seen, low time preference is the engine. It's the non-negotiable foundation for building the life you genuinely want to live, not just consuming the one you happen to have right now.
It's the difference between being a builder, an investor in your own future, versus just a consumer trapped in the present.
And often that difference comes down to whether you trust the tool you're using to carry value forward through time.
So let's leave you with a final thought, something provocative to mull over. What truly great long-term project could you finally commit to in your own life? Maybe mastering a complex, valuable skill, building that ambitious business, securing a legacy for your family across generations. What could you achieve if you knew with near certainty that the wealth you save today would be secure, truly secure, for the next 10, 20, even 50 years?
That kind of certainty changes the game entirely. It's the fertile ground where real legacies are built.
That's the potential power unlocked by the ideas in the Bitcoin Standard. If this conversation sparked something for you, if it shifted how you think about money's impact on your drive and your future, make sure you subscribe to the Success Happiness channel. We'll have many more discussions and talks exploring the ideas that shape a prosperous life.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.